All right. I'm going to grade some of my FFPC tournament entries, the ones that are in first or second place. It's Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. Week one of the NFL season has concluded. And of course, it's time to overreact. So I'm going to open up my FFPC page here and share the screen. And I entered 15 times into the $35 superflex best ball tournament and one entry into the $125 regular, just standard best ball. Well, it's not standard scoring, but it's just regular PPR, no superflex. Now, it's not just that the $35, of course, is less of a less of an expense to enter, but also I really do prefer the Superflex format. So that's why I entered so many times into it. And when I say so many times, I should clarify that there's people out there that probably max entered the tournament. I think you can enter 150 teams or something as the maximum. So when I say a lot, 15 entries was roughly the same as what I did last year. I think I did 15 or 20 last year, and I didn't do super well. Now, the problem with that team or the strategy on all the teams last year was that I would go two or three quarterbacks, and then I was trying to get the elite tight ends as well. So I was basically trying to get the elite quarterbacks and the elite tight ends. And this year, I decided to take a more natural approach and just react to how the board is unfolding. So let's take a look at the one that did the best so far, and 183.74. It had Allen and Henry. That obviously was killer. So throughout, one strategy throughout was that I stuck to Ohio State receivers. And that was definitely intentional. It took Marvin Harrison and Igbuka there, and Kyle Pitts, just because he has the same name as me, Baker, Cedric Tillman. That was the week one lineup. It's best ball. I didn't set this lineup. It just filled that automatically, put up 184, crushed the rest of the teams, off to a great start there. We'll see how it continues. Of course, we're overreacting to week one. That's it's definitely a long way to go. But let's take a look at the draft board and grade this. This is going to be the point of this video here, is grading what I did in the draft. So this one I overslept the start or something because the first three were auto picks, but it's exactly what I would have wanted here. Allen, Baker, Henry. Great start. I don't know why I took Terry. I don't know when this was or why I took Terry. I'm not real big on Terry this year, but Ohio State receiver. So it ended up working, even subconsciously, even though I don't even think I was thinking about it back when this draft happened. Then we took Chuba, good pick. Swift, we'll see. Likely, that was before he got injured. Richardson, this is auto pick. Also, I don't know what I'm doing. I must have been on my phone or like just auto draft. And come on, get your, you know, ducks in a row here. And then one of the good picks was Golden, and actually Pitts was not a bad pick either. Richardson was a really poor pick there, and that might have been before Daniel Jones was drafted. I'm sorry, before Daniel Jones was named the starter. But either way, that's a bad pick. Igbuka and Golden, I do like them together at the turn as just a strategy to go both first round receivers and also Ohio State, in particular with Igbuka. And then Mims, that might not be a good pick. Braylon Allen, I do like that pick. Tillman, good pick. Komet, I don't really like that. No Fant, so far, we'll see. That's not bad. Julio, I don't like that. Gordon, no. Tucker, good pick there. So I give myself a B plus on this. And, a lot of credit goes to the computer for taking Allen Mayfield Henry. Then, this is all good. But then this is really where it's, I could even give myself a C, honestly, just based on the way 8 through 11 went, but then some good fillers at the end. especially that last pick with Tucker. I like that. So, like I said, B plus on this one. Okay, let's close this. Let's close this. Let's move on to the next one. This one's also in first place, but barely. We got a lot of competition here so far. Pretty even distribution of points. We got our boy Herbert, who was, I'd say, pretty much the baller of the week for quarterbacks, taking down Kansas City. That was an elite performance, and allegedly he's doing some elite stuff off the field as well, if you heard about that. Again, Ohio State receivers was my number one priority. That was my strategy above all else. Buckeye receivers, we got Marvin Harrison, Garrett Wilson, Igbuka again. He's not going to score 2 touchdowns every week, but great start for Igbuka. We went Saquon with the second pick, it looks like. And then we ended up with Warren as well. That was probably a steal where I got Warren. Warren, I should have, it's easy to say now because he looked good in week 1, but I should have taken more Warren. He was going at a really affordable price in these drafts. And remember, all FFPC tournaments are tight end premium. So you get an additional half point per reception. Otherwise, it's just regular PPR. So let's close this and look at the board. So started with Mahomes, then went Saquon, Herbert, great pick. I love the Marvin Harrison and Garrett Wilson, tandem there, both Ohio State. And then Bryce Young, that was out of necessity. Warren, great pick. Igbuka, great pick. Now this is where I really fell apart. Eckler, I think, was an auto draft queue mistake, a technology issue on my phone, maybe. Jordan Mason, not bad. Reed, okay. Bigsby, nope. Bust, 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 bust. Good pick with Trey Tucker. Apparently, I took a lot of Trey Tucker. Malik Washington's another bust. I give myself a C minus here, but it's in first place, so good start. Let's move on to the next one. So another one with Herbert, another one with Chuba. I think this is multiple with Chuba now. Samson, like that. Good start there. Another one with Igbuka. I must take an Igbuka on every single team. at least the ones that are in first place all have Igbuka. I really like this guy's team, by the way. Nakua and Coleman. That's a nice. So Boutte. Now, here's a little, I preface this at the beginning. If you are in any redraft leagues or certain dynasty formats with real thin benches or some weird format, Boutte, I think, is my number one waiver wire priority. Love the targets that he got. He looks like he's May's number one option. That's his go-to guy. He likes Boutte. Now, I don't think May's going to throw that many times every game, and I think the Patriots need to run the ball more, especially with Henderson. But he was going to Boutte. And so this is now back-to-back, going back to 2024. This is consecutive games for Boutte of going over 100 yards. So I love that I ended up with a Boutte, share here. I didn't draft a lot of him this year, but I'm going to overreact to week 1. I think this might be a third-year breakout. I know people don't use that term anymore. I don't know. We don't go after that anymore, but third-year breakout for Boutte, maybe for Quentin Johnson as well. So we started off with Bowers. Now, I remember this draft. I really do like this team. I like that Odunze ends up in that last flex spot. That's really a sign of strength. And if Boutte, like I said, keeps it up the way May seems to be going, then this team looks pretty good. Now, that being said, this team could have been better. So I started off with Bowers and McBride, 1, 2. Then I went Williams, Herbert, Geno. Love that start. This is sort of what I was doing last year that didn't work so well. But in this draft, like I said, I was reacting to the board, and it just felt right. So that's why I think this team looks good. Now, Chuba, that's sort of my go-to in that range. Pickens, so far, that could be a bust. Igbuka, great pick. Judy, okay. Odunze, okay. Samson, good pick. Gordon, probably a bust. Algier, I don't know. I don't know why I did that. I could have taken, it does get difficult in this range. I'm looking around, maybe Mims, maybe Wan'Dale Robinson in that range. I'm not sure why I took so many handcuffs here. I give myself Keishawn Butte, a good pick at the end. Noah Fant as well. I'll give myself a B minus on this. Good, not great. Not sure why I took so many handcuffs. I'm not going to do that again next year, unless there's just a bunch of running back injuries later. But next team, we got Lamar, Chuba again, Warren, more Ohio State receivers, Marvin Harrison, Igbuka. I mean, that looks great. Again, Igbuka's not going to score 2 TDs every week, but another team with Baker. Let's look at the draft board. So I probably had the 102 or 103. Yeah, I had the 103. So I went Lamar, Baker, Kyler, then Marvin Harrison. Again, Ohio State, just when in doubt, Ohio State receiver. Then I went T. Higgins, Chuba, Igbuka, Waddle, Warren, Pitts, Goddard, Mixon. No. Yeah, see, this is where I fell apart. Bad pick, good pick, probably a bad pick, bust, 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 bust. I give myself a D plus on this, just because, especially because I had a great start and then fell apart. So I give myself such a bad grade because I choked on that, and it could have been really good, and instead it's just kind of. But it's in I think first or second place. Yeah, I think that team was in second place, and this is another one in second place. Okay, now I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna jump ahead. This one I'm gonna give myself an A. I really like this one, and it could be better. Of course, it could always be better. But I'm just gonna jump right into the board here because, week one, it did pretty well. But the reason I'm giving myself an A is for this strategy to stack Fields and Hall as just run the rock sort of offense that they might be running this year. And so where am I? Okay, I had the 103, started with Bijan, then went Fields, Baker, Herbert in the fourth. I mean, come on, I'll give myself an A just for that alone. Then come back with Hall, Swift, Ridley, Judy, Golden. Okay, K. Dotton. Okay, it would have been an A plus without K. Dotton. Okay, the rest of the way didn't, handcuffs maybe not so necessary. Malik Washington. Okay, you know what? A minus, A minus. I fell apart at the end. Malik Washington, that's an A minus. Okay, but almost an A. I think that's my favorite one out of all. And then week one for this team, another one in second place. Oh, switch here. We have Herbert again, Henry, Gibbs, Odunze, another Ohio State receiver. Kittle, the injury to Kittle is not so great on this team. Let's look at the draft board. We had the 107, and then we went Gibbs, Henry, Kittle, Herbert. Again, Herbert in the fourth. I mean, I'll give myself a B minus for, you know what? No, Palmer later, Dante Thornton, Sanders, Jalen Lane. I'll give myself a solid B for this. And it would be even better if Kittle didn't get hurt. Okay, and then this one here. This is the one that's not super flex, just one quarterback. And we got Allen, Taylor, Charbonnet, Keon Coleman, stacked with Allen, Igbuka, Laporta, Lamb, Odunze. This one looks pretty good. I'll give myself probably an A minus for this one. Again, not super flex on this one, so this one's a little bit different. Lamb, Taylor, Allen, Laporta. And again, it's still tight end premium, so you still get 1.5 PPR for tight ends. That's just such a great start. Addison, we'll see how he, Caleb Johnson. It would be an A plus if I didn't take Johnson and Tracy there, and likely. Okay, it's an A minus. Yeah, I don't have any solid A's. There's always a mistake there, and Richardson and Jackson Dart. Yeah, but the starting lineup for that one looks great. So again, the live scoring for that one is in first place after week one. Obviously, mostly because of Allen. Some tight competition there, but looks good so far. So I'm excited. All right. Thank you for watching.